Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing. Hey, welcome. You guys want to hear something terrible? My wife was just in the room a couple minutes ago, and she said, your chair looks like it's kind of like leaning. I was like, you know what? You're right. It is kind of leaning. So I pulled it out, and I was like trying to mess with the peg of it, you know, the thing that like locks it, and I snapped it. Like my whole chair like has this complete left lean now. So I'm recording. I want you to imagine me recording this podcast at like the Leaning Tower of Pisa style. I'm just like to the side. Other than that, hope you're having a great day. I am. This podcast is coming out kind of late because I'm actually recording it right now. So if you're listening to this on Friday, it is being recorded on Friday. So to be perfectly honest, I kind of forgot. Oh, here we are. However, I do have people in the growth program right now who I've been working with, and so there's always subjects to be talking about, always things that we're discovering and topics of discussion that we have that are really interesting, and just overall, I feel like I like to share that kind of stuff with the community as well. So let's jump into this. So the thing I want to talk about today, I need to put a fat disclaimer on the front of it. This disclaimer is, this is an untested and probably premature idea. Meaning I did not A/B test this and be like, hey, I've got the newest and greatest. Let's talk about this thing. I'm totally confident. I will endorse it. None of that is true. This is just you and me. We're sitting down. You say to me, hey, Jared, I got some questions. Or Jared, tell me something that you've been thinking about this week. This is what I've been thinking about this week. Whether or not it's going to work, that's on you. So give it a shot. If you feel like it's working for you, great. If not, don't get mad at me. All right. But like, I guess here's the best way to say this. If I owned an Etsy store today, I would be testing this on my end to see if it would work. That's a good way to say that. Okay, so let's jump into it. So you are an Etsy seller, which means that you've most likely used the Etsy search platform before in your life. And you know that if I was to search, for example, wedding favors or wedding gift basket or I think wedding favors is probably a great keyword. If you type that in, you're going to see lots of different stuff that's available for wedding favors. Now, these products can be bought in quantities. So you can buy them in 100, 200, 50, 25. And the price is going to fluctuate based on what you choose, right? And so if you click on that listing, you then choose the quantity that you want, and the amount of money that is worth will show up at that time. And so this can work for a lot of different stuff. It can work with sizing, the smalls versus the larges. And so you can do this for, PODs do this sometimes with bigger shirts and whatnot. They charge a little bit more for the large. You can do it with color, variation, quantity, whatever, size. Lots of different reasons why you could have this option be available. Now, one thing is for sure, and what we know is that Etsy actually promotes or puts the price of the cheapest item in the search. So for example, if you were to be selling like a wedding knickknack, and most likely, if you're selling a wedding knickknack, something you're going to give to your guests as they leave your wedding, you're not going to buy one, right? Because you're buying this in bulk. No one, unless you just have one person coming to your wedding, you're going to be buying in bulk. So the question is, well, then where do I start my pricing? And where most of us tend to land is, well, I'm going to start with what my minimum order is. So I don't want to make this product unless I'm making 20 of them, for example. So I'm going to put my product as 20, and that's going to equate to $40, for example. So when someone searches in wedding knickknacks, I don't know who would ever do that, but let's just say they do, and your product comes up. What is the price? Now, you might have a $40 option, a $45 option, a $50 option, a $70 option, and a $5,000 option. What price is going to be under the picture? You know the answer to this, right? It's the cheapest price. So in this case, $40 is what's going to show up underneath that picture. Now, if you were to say to me, again, about a month ago, Jared, what do you think about practice? And you guys have probably seen this before, where people put their minimum order at a very small amount. For example, a sample, right? They just do a sample, and that sample's $5. or they offer a smaller version of what is actually photographed, and they offer that smaller version for $15, but the one you're looking at in the photograph is actually $23, right? You've seen these tricks before. I've actually seen one that the person, I'm not kidding when I say this, they had this cheap price that I saw from the search and was like, wow, and I clicked on it, and when I went in to explore, it was a tip. I'm not lying. Like, oh, did you want $2? This $2 product? Oh, that's just a tip. You could choose that to tip me for $2. The actual product is $20 or whatever it was. Wow. So what showed up on the search? The $2, not the $20. And so it got me to click because I was like, are you kidding me? And then I got duped and obviously was like, oh man, that's lame. However, this is the part where I want to have this discussion. And I don't fall either way right now. Here's where I do fall. If something works and it isn't breaking the law, I'm okay with it. Part of marketing, and that's what I am. I'm a growth marketer. We have to be kind of okay the fact that we do manipulate people. Like, that's what my job is. It is to find a way to use human psychology and how people think and present my products as the winning product to that. That is what I do at a high scale. So I take those high scale principles and I apply them into Etsy shops, because if they work at a high scale opportunity, the chances of them working in these quick purchases that are taking place on Etsy are pretty high. And part of what I do as a coach and on this podcast is I teach you these things so that you can get success in your stuff. And I've seen it work. So I'm only opening the door here because I know you're thinking, whoa, that's slimy. I know. But let's talk about the best way to do it. Because here's what we do know. If you are selling your product for a minimum quantity of 20, and your competitor is selling their product for a minimum quantity of 30, you are going to be cheaper than your competitor. And it will look good on the search because the quantity isn't being shown on the search. So someone types in, for example, wedding invitations, they're going to see the picture of the wedding invitation. And then next to your listing will be a more expensive version of a wedding invitation, but they're just seeing the two prices, not the quantity that's there. So it isn't until they click that they're like, oh, this one's 20 and this one's 30, right? They'd have to click on both of those. So from a marketing standpoint, from a business mind, I want the click. I don't want them to go to my competitors. And let's just reverse this. Let's say I'm the minimum order of 30, but per piece, mine's cheaper. And then this other person, their minimum order is 20, but per piece, they're more expensive. But Etsy is presenting them as cheaper than me because they have a 20 minimum order, right? That affects my life. And they're going to get first dibs on my customers, especially if someone types in a specific theme. You know, I want a nautical wedding. Oh boy, these are terrible examples, but you know where I'm going here. And 2 nautical invitations show up next to each other. And one is cheaper than the other one. They're probably going to click the cheaper one, especially, and this is where my brain is really gone, because as I've been really looking at this, let me back up here, because this is what we want to say, knee jerk, is we want to go, well, that's slimy. That's not right. They're going to feel duped by me. People are going to click and then they're going to leave because they feel duped by me. And there's maybe some truth in that. So let's focus in on the click. Let's say that I make a AirPod case, right? Like a skin that goes over your AirPod case. And let's say that I personalize it. So the picture shows, Sally, and it's got this picture of an astronaut or something like that on it, and it's personalized for you. So let's say that personalized option cost $20, okay? If I type in personalized AirPod case, I'm going to see a sea of AirPod case. And all of them, and especially if you do a good job with your pictures, all of them are going to look really great. So the question is, well, which one am I interested in? And so you're going to automatically, as you scroll, find some ones that speak to you. Now, keep in mind, this is a very generic keyword I used, right? I didn't type in astronaut iPod case or iPod. That's funny. AirPod case, I typed in just AirPod case or personalized AirPod case, which means that Etsy doesn't know if I want a kitty, if I want a princess, if I want a poop emoji. They have no idea what I want on it. They just know I want it personalized. So they're going to show me a variety of different personalized options. And in that personalized, there's going to be a lot that look great and a lot that win my interest and a lot that I think, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. So if I have a few in my mind that I'm going, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool, what earns the click? Either A, and I've talked a lot about this, something different, something unique, and I'm sure you're just sick of, me saying that. Okay, Jared, I get it. I need to stand out. I need to be different. I need to have the mindset of creating something. Yep, all true. But what if you were a little bit cheaper? So the thing is, and this is what's nice about this, is that there's so much people who are priced at that $20 mark, okay? Let's just say all your competitors are priced around that 19 to 23. Let's say that's kind of the price range, and you're priced at 20, which is a little bit on the lower end of the price. All your competitors. So what's happening is I'm seeing the products, and in my mind, I've validated the price because I've okay, this case is 20, this case is 22, this one's 24, this one's 23, this one's 27. Oh, that one's kind of expensive. How did I know that was expensive? What if they were all $27, right? Then all of a sudden the price got validated at $27. But because there's a few that are bouncing in between the normal range of this between $19 and $23, when one came up as a $27 one, I was like, oh, freak, that's expensive. So you can do the same thing, just the other way around. So someone's looking at a price and they see 21, they see 23, they say 24, the next one's 21, the next one's 20, the next one's 19, the next one's 20, the next one's 21, and then they see yours for 15. And they go, oh, wow, this looks just as nice as everybody else's, but it's $5 cheaper. I have a few that I'm interested in. Do you think you just made the list of what they might be interested in? I do. And I think what won you was the price. The fact that you were $5 cheaper than everyone else kind of won that over. Now, this is where we talk about the next technique here. They would click on your $15 listing, and congratulations, you just won a click from a personalized AirPod case search. Fantastic. What does that mean? It means you got Etsy recognized that when they showed you up for personalized AirPod case, a sea of people showed up and you won the click. They've learned something about this. Now, this is at a very small scale, right? As this happens more and more is when the actual learning will take place. But if you can continue this at a large scale, Etsy's going to learn, wow, people really like this product. Great. I don't want our shoppers to have to scroll down as far as they are to find this product because they like it. I'm going to move it up so that people can get this product presented to them sooner because we know they're going to like it, especially when people search personalized AirPod case. Now, again, why are they clicking? Probably because, wow, this is a really cool case and it's $5 cheaper than anything else. It's probably the reason they're clicked. Okay. But now they're in your listing and we got a problem. That personalized case is $20. You just marked it for $15 because the non-personalized version of that product is $15. So you have it in your title that it's personalized. It isn't until they go to make it personalized that it becomes $20. Now, something has just happened here. You've valued what personalization actually means, meaning the value of a case is $15. The value of a personalized case is $5, right? There's enough $5 to make it personalized. The case itself is $15. Think of it this way. If I was to buy a gift basket for my dog, and I type on Etsy, gift basket for dog, and I see this gift basket and it's got 5 items in it and it's $50, and I click on it, and then it says to me, all right, for the 5 items, it's $50. If you want to add this little dog bone to it, it'll be $60. What did I just learn? And this lesson is worth noting. I just learned that you were willing to overcharge me because you're charging me $10 for a dog bone. I'm imagining one of those little dog treat things. They're not $10. And so what just happened is the entire gift basket becomes sort of tainted to me, because I'm like, wait a second. If you're charging me $10 for a dog bone, how can I assume that the products that are in this you're not just ripping me off every single product, or that I was thinking this basket was worth $50. But now that I see that you mark a dog bone, an edition dog bone, to $10, it really makes me question if this whole basket is actually worth $50, or if it's really worth $19 and you're just charging me $50 for it. And now I'm starting to spiral a bit. I'm starting to I feel that sliminess that we're talking about, because I'm like, wait a second. I don't know if the sliminess of I offer a personalized and a non-personalized version is necessarily slimy. And what I've learned from this is that it's kind of works. As I've been going through this longer and I've really been looking into this, again, my opinion has always been, because this is really a true statement when it comes to like social media marketing. Whatever the person left social media for, if you don't present them that exact option, they're ticked. Yeah, they think you're slimy. They don't buy from you. Game over. So you can promote a free masterclass, and if they go into this masterclass and they've got to opt in a bunch to see this free masterclass, they're starting to feel a little duped, because they thought they were going to click and watch something. Instead, you've been asking for information for days. They're typing in their social security number and they're ticked about it. Or if all of a sudden you said, yep, it's free the first 30 seconds. And then after that, you got to pay $100. Again, this doesn't work. It would, if it did, it would, everyone would be doing it. It doesn't work. Yeah, people don't respond to that. So I've just taken that same philosophy and I've moved it over to Etsy. But as I've gotten more into it, I've realized it sort of does work. Now, this is Blue Zone. I don't have data to back this, but I've seen it enough that I'm starting to lean in the court of it sort of works. If you can find a way to offer that is a perfect example, a personalized versus a non-personalized, but use the keywords of personalized and offer it for $5, the non-personalized for $5 cheaper, it shows up in the search as that. You get the click, and then you have their attention. It's sort of like any salesman is going to want, if you think about someone who goes door to door, for example, what are the chances of you buying pest control from someone if you don't open your door? 0. It's 0. But if you open the door and you're having this conversation, there's a chance. Well, that's what this does. It opens up a chance. Now, we don't want to hurt our chances. And that's where we want to avoid the slime, is that we don't want them to go, oh, pest control, gross, and slam the door. We don't want them to go, what? Oh my gosh, I thought it was for all 5 items, it was going to be $50, but it's just $50 for the basket, and it's $20 every time I add a product to the basket. That's not what we want to do. But this personalized to non-personalized, pretty good option. Another great example that I've recently seen was a sample. So this is for people who do quantity. Yeah, do you want a sample of the product? I'll sell it to you for $10. But my minimum order is $30. So what happens is you show up as $10 on the search. People click because they're like, oh my gosh, this seems really cheap. And then you're able to say, well, no, I'm priced just like everybody else. This is just for the sample. But while you're here, why don't you go through my listing pictures? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it. It's like, oh, no. Sorry. Did you think this was for forever? No. That's the price for the sample. But feel free to look around. Because as long as you're competitively priced, so for example, if I go through the pages of wedding favors and I'm like, okay, let's say I'm looking for those what are those things called? Like they shoot the lights out. Freak. I know you guys are saying it right now. They're not streamers, are they? No, flares or sparklers. There it is, wedding sparklers. Those little wedding sparklers. Let's just say you home make wedding sparklers, and I type in wedding sparklers into Etsy, and I see a sea of them. And I can see most people have a minimum order of about 30, and it's $1 each. So it's there, $30, for example. And then I see yours, and it says $4. What? I'm interested. I click, and it says, hey, do you want a sample of one? It's $4. But our minimum order is 30, and they're $31 for 30. You go, oh, well, you're just as priced as everyone else. So I'm not offended by the price. It's not like you're trying to, you know what I mean? But I did click because I was curious about the 4, but now I have my answer. It's that's for a sample. But while I'm here, why don't I look around? Now, that is great. Like, I love that. I love, hey, while you're here, look around. And if we set our listing up pictures right and we present our brand correctly and we walk them through the buying process of our listing pictures, like, we have a high chance of closing that sale. And if we do, guess what happens? Etsy sees that. You're promoting this data to Etsy. So what's happening is when people are clicking on your $4 product, you're getting more clicks than your competitors. The only thing you want to truly watch for is if your conversion rate drops, right? If your conversion rate starts to go down because people aren't buying from you, then that probably means you do have a slimy vibe to what you're doing. People are feeling duped and they're leaving because they're like, oh, no, this is terrible. But if you know you have a product that sells and you just have strong competition and you're able to find a way to lower that price without actually lowering the price, you're just offering samples or personalized versus non-personalized, or there's a sizing chart and that's just for the extra small, for example, then you're coming in at such a lower price. And I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks, I've had my eyes open to this, and I've watched, and I've been like, what makes the difference between this store and this store? This store has 3,000 more sales than this store. They open around the same time. They're selling the same product. What's the difference? I've seen it be a few times where I go, it's really just this. This is the only difference. And they're just winning the clicks, and they're winning the bids. And let's just go one step further. I don't know how many people actually do buy the samples. People who do buy samples will really appreciate that they get a sample. That means if they bought it, that they truly wanted a sample, that they did have a buyer objection, that they were worried it wasn't going to be the product they received. You send them a sample, boom, they're happy with you. My guess is they'll probably buy the full order if they buy the sample, because what good does one do for them, right? And you also could help your sales. Because, for example, if let's just say your competitors, 10 people bought their listings and you sold 10 as well, but you sold 2 samples. Now it's 10 to 12 sales. You probably got more clicks because of it. You got more sales. You see where I'm going with this? This is why I'm starting to lean more towards it's worth experimenting. It's worth trying. So if you have a product that does quantity, I think quantity is probably the best one because you can offer a sample. Personalization. You can do personalized to non-personalized. Sizing, you can offer your cheapest, your smallest size as a cheaper. And just assume that not a lot of people wear extra, extra small, for example. But you'll offer extra, extra small for a price. And you can get people to click and come in. And in today's day and age of where Etsy shops are popping up like crazy and we are just competing, I don't mind winning a click this way. That's where I stand right now. Again, my opinion could change. And you guys, so don't hold this against me. I don't want you to be like, Jared, I did this and it didn't work. Or, yeah, well, I guess if it does, what I want is all the credit, but none of the blame. Name that show. Okay, I'll leave that with you. We'll let this rest. Okay, if you are, I have no call to action. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. See you guys next week.